What's going on, guys? Unknown Player here, and today, once again, we're going to be rounding up some various topics that I want to discuss. We'll be going over some hidden items inside the game which aren't available just yet, also vehicles and how they're utilized, Amanda Holliday as a vendor, and a bunch more stuff too. So let's begin with something pretty random that a lot of people don't actually know about, which is that you can get vehicles or tanks even inside certain strikes. Now, I wouldn't blame you for not knowing this because hardly anyone does strikes in Destiny 2. They're very pointless as an activity. Definitely need some strike loot there. But they can spawn here and actually be a ton of fun. The main reason you might not know about this is because they don't spawn every time. And in fact, they're quite rare to drop. I did the inverted spire about 10 times and the tank only spawned once. So they have a pretty low drop rate, unfortunately. But as you can see, Amanda flies in with her ship, drops the tank off for you to play with. I've been asked dozens of times, mainly on Twitter, like, are tanks supposed to spawn in strikes, and how this one guy I was playing with getting a tank, is he glitching or something? But there is your answer. They are supposed to spawn, but they are very rare. Now, honestly, I'd say this is some of the most fun you can have inside strikes. I really do think they should make them drop every time and not just a small chance, because it is really cool to just demolish everything in these strikes and drive around. And so many majors that are normally a massive pain to deal with just get blasted to oblivion with the cannon. So it's a really, really fun time. And I wish there was more of this, to be honest. Tanks are very underutilized, I think. Obviously, you can't just take these to the boss. That would be amazing if you could, but I tried. In the arms dealer, you just get stuck in the hallway, which is just too small. And on inverted spire, of course, you can't fit through the jump gate, but you can kind of sit there and kind of fire through to that area and help out a little bit. But as a side note, I would love to see a strike in the future of Destiny 2 that is predominantly tank-based, similar to the campaign missions. I think it would be really cool to have this, and maybe the final boss was a giant Cabal ship or a giant Goliath tank with a bunch of health. And imagine 3 of you in a fire team, all in tanks, shooting bosses, shooting stuff. I think it would be a really cool idea, but regardless, tanks are definitely very underutilized right now inside the game. So moving on to the next topic I want to discuss, something also very underutilized right now being Amanda Holliday as a vendor. I wanted to go over some hidden items related to her, and also something you can do that not a lot of people know about. So I think most people could agree she's probably the most pointless vendor in the entire game. She serves little to no purpose. She only has these green ships and sparrows, so not a very useful vendor at all. Now, one feature she does actually have, which again, not a lot of people know about, because it's not a thing that you would encounter very often inside the game. But if you do happen to have 3 of the same transmat effects, then you can go to her and she's going to offer you this thing called a reconfigure Flair. So this works pretty similar to the mod system. You have 3 of them and you turn them in. It's going to give you a random transmat effect, and it's a way to turn duplicates into maybe something you might want. Now, there's also 2 other items inside the game database that aren't public inside the game, but do relate to Amanda, and either they were scrapped as kind of bad ideas, or maybe they'll come in the future as actual features, but they're very similar and along the lines of the reconfigure Flair that I just talked about. So the first one is a legendary item called Transmatter Components. Transmat system components obtained from dismantling legendary quality transmat effects a shipwright can use to create new transmat effects. There's also another very similar item called Create Flair with the same icon as Reconfigure one, but this one is green, and this one says create a random legendary quality transmat effect using parts from dismantling other legendary effects. So currently right now inside the game, if you dismantle a legendary effect, you get nothing. Nothing drops for you. But with this system, it kind of implies you're supposed to get a transmatter component, and then you can use that to get a Create Flair. So to put it simply, you dismantle effects, they give you materials, you use those to trade into Amanda and get a new effect, and that's how the system could work. But of course, right now inside the game, the only system we have is to combine existing transmat effects to generate a new random one, which is the one you can see right here. So it's hard to tell if they just scrapped the other idea because they thought it wasn't as good as one we have right now inside the game, or it could be something coming in the future. But either way, those are some things involving Amanda. Now, something else also on a similar lines is to do with shaders, and this is something, again, we don't have inside the game, but is inside the database as a temporary item, and this would be definitely very much requested. I know a lot of people would love this, and this is to generate a new random shader by combining components from other shaders. So again, it's very similar. You either dismantle stuff and get materials, or you just combine 3 of the same shader to get a random new one, but this in itself would be really cool. So hopefully it's something that comes, but again, it's temporary, and it doesn't even have an icon, so it may have been scrapped as an idea. So of course, let me know down below in the comment section, how would you like to improve Amanda Holliday? Because she is definitely a very pointless vendor. Obviously, if Sparrow Racing was to return, which isn't confirmed just yet, but is very likely, then she would have a big purpose with SRL, and she'd be the main vendor for that with new Sparrows and armor sets, shaders, all that kind of stuff. But the main thing is, even in Destiny 1, she did have some purpose in that sometimes she would sell some of the rarest items in the entire game. I remember there are a couple ships that were only sold, I think, 1 time in an entire year. So those are literally some of the rarest items ever. And then one day people would freak out because she might be selling an item that she hasn't sold before in a year or something like that. But unless you're a new player that needs a Sparrow, needs to grab a green one, she has 0 purpose for the entire game. And unless you want to get a random transmat effect, she also has 0 purpose. So hopefully something changes with her. But at the same time, I do realize it's probably because of Eververse, because almost every ship and sparrow and cosmetic thing like that is inside Bright Engrams now, nowhere else inside the game. So I'm not really too sure what else she could sell. I would love to see a feature where she can re-roll the perk on your sparrow. Not a lot of people know, but the perks on your sparrows are mostly random, and what you get on the sparrow is simply stuck there forever. I have seen some really cool perks. Some of them let you draw the sparrow instantly, and others give you more agility in the air. So I would love to see at least one feature where she can re-roll those sparrow perks. So next up, we're going to look at some really interesting Destiny 2 concept art made by Bungie artists and designers. You guys always enjoy when I show off concept pieces, and it's a cool behind the scenes look at the game. This batch is really unique, as you'll see. So this piece from Alexis Velasquez is showing a baby version of Gaul. That's right, Gaul as an actual baby. And this, again, is not fan art, it's official stuff. The creator is one of the senior character artists at Bungie, and it shows what Gaul would look like as a baby, which is pretty hilarious. So it says, before he came Gaul, Dominus of the Red Legion, Annihilator of Suns, Raiser of 1,000 Worlds, Slayer of Gods, and Conqueror of the Light, he was little baby Gary. So it's a pretty funny and also random piece. I'm not sure why he has actual wings. I'm pretty sure it's figurative because of his armor suit in the final cutscene, or maybe Cabal are born with tiny wings but can't fly, so who knows. But it is actually relevant because Gaul was born as an outcast to all the other Cabal, which is part of the reason why he's so angry and destructive, and Console took advantage of this anger and turned this outcast into a weapon to get revenge on Callus, which is exactly what happened. So it is pretty funny, but also ties into the lore of Gaul and why he is the way he is. There's also this one of the royal bathers with the war beast on leashes, which looks amazing. Another strange piece of art, if you ever wondered what the Cabal look like when they aren't trying to destroy everything, this is a concept of them actually chilling out in the royal pools, having a spa day. I guess this is the actual function of the baths when we aren't trying to kill them in there. There's also a bunch of cool pieces, again, from Adrian Microshek, which I probably butchered the name, but this is part of the Leviathan raid as a whole and their ideas. I mean, regardless of the raid loot, which obviously nobody is very happy with right now, I think we could all agree the design of the Leviathan as a raid, as an environment, is definitely amazing. So this stuff is always interesting to look at, with all the gold everywhere. There's also this one of Braca Zahn, the arms dealer, and some more from Joseph Cross of Callus, the scale compared to a Guardian, his skeleton form, and also the biggest cloak you've ever seen. Now, with Destiny 2 launching on PC, I've got some early gameplay for you guys, showing off the graphics on PC, and it's a really well-made sort of montage cinematic. For anyone who hasn't seen the game run on PC and wonders what the hype is all about, this should hopefully demonstrate a little bit of what it looks like. Now, obviously, this is still absolutely nothing compared to seeing it in real life. It's one of those things that you have to see to believe. No one can really describe it to you on max settings, 4K, 100 FPS, and even this gameplay footage doesn't at all do it justice. I'm going to upload it in a higher bitrate, frame rate, and resolution than normal, but even still has been uploaded, rendered, and downloaded a bunch of times. So quality has been lost in the process, but hopefully it's a little idea of what the PC could look like, if you're wondering. But let me know how many of you guys are PC players. I know a lot of you have been patiently waiting all this time watching my videos until you can play it for yourself. Obviously, the end game needs a lot of work, and most of the content is already out there and kind of spoiled already, but at least everyone can play it now. And of course, everything from here on out is going to be in sync, so we'll all get trials at the same time next week when it comes back. The Dawning, Curse of Osiris, and everything else, all the DLCs are going to be synchronized on the same platform, PC or console. And I get asked this a lot, but I am going to be playing on PC. Probably not maining because I'm not the greatest on mouse and keyboard, but it definitely looks really good in gameplay for video. So I'll definitely be playing there, kind of leveling up another character, something else to do. And the gameplay and which weapons are good and bad is a little bit different over there as well because of how mouse and keyboard works. But I'll still be maining PS4, just playing on PC every now and again. I'm going to let you guys watch the rest of this gameplay without me talking over it. As always, if you enjoyed the video and want to help support the channel, then a like rating would be much appreciated before you leave. I've got a lot more videos on the way, so stay tuned and enjoy the PC gameplay.